I'm not sure what Honda was thinking when they came out with this tailgate, but there is no way to lock this thing. So finally, Honda has released an OEM lock that you can install in this tailgate. Anybody could open this, even if you have a secure top on it. So it's just very annoying, but this is a real easy to install piece. It's genuine Honda parts, so it's two different parts. The first part you're going to get when you order is the actual new locking mechanism, and this is your lock cylinder and your keys. And then the part that you need specifically for your color of your vehicle is what the other little box is. And in my case, I have a black Ridgeline, so I had to buy the black. Now what's different about this is it actually has a cylinder hole for the lock, unlike this one that doesn't have anything. So I'm going to show you guys how to install this. Really simple process, takes about 20-30 minutes, and I've never done it, but I've seen some people do it, so I just wanted to also bring you my take on how easy it is. Alright, let's get started. Alright, it's a very basic set of tools. We'll need a soft rubber hammer. That's to take this off. Pry tool to remove those clips. Simple Torx bit is to remove all these screws that hold the tailgate cover on. And a Phillips screwdriver. That's to reinstall the camera. So we're going to start with the Torx bit. And this is a T30 Torx bit. And we're just going to remove all these big screw holes. These big ones here. There's 1, 2, there's 4 of them. Alright, we need to remove these 4 Phillips screws across the top rail cap. On the left side, driver's side of the truck, we need to give this a little bump right here. And by moving this over, the whole thing will move over. Alright, now I was kind of babying that a little bit. Now these white clips, they need to be removed. All these little white clips, they need to be taken out of here and placed back into the ridge cap here. So might as well do it now. Something here about the orientation of these little white clips. First of all, most of them seem to be in this up position. Alright, so that translates into a certain way they need to be installed in here. But instead of my mistake of trying to pry these things off with a pry tool and risk breaking them, they actually come off real easy if you just literally turn them a little bit and corner pull them out. So just turn them, just let this focus, turn it a little bit and then pull it out, and that way you don't risk breaking either one of the push tabs. Turn it and pull it out. That way you don't get any scratching on your tailgate like I stupidly was doing right here. The next tip is when you're reinstalling these in here with the orientation exactly the way that came off, all those tabs simply lock right back into here with this flat part. Very simply like that. It's going to turn, put it in here. All the tabs out, and they got them reinstalled back in this. Now I need to put this aside for the reinstallation of it. The very last thing. You got a few more of these Torx screws to get out of here on the top. With all these 7 Torx bits out of your tailgate cover, this just comes off really nice and simple. And put this out of your way. Now we're down to the guts of it, the parts that we're going to be replacing. And we're going to start with, we're going to be removing the tailgate handle itself. Now it's just held in with 2 10mm bolts. So I just use a standard socket with an extension, and they're just going to go right down in here to remove those 2. This one will need to be removed, and that's it's a matter of sliding this over and lifting this up. that will drop out with the tailgate handle, this one lever. The other thing you need to do is the camera is actually wired. It has a quick release, and it's just pushing on this and pulling it apart. And then this comes out. No need to remove anything else. Now, as you take these bolts out, you don't want to risk perhaps the tailgate handle dropping. So what I would do is I would just give it that initial crack, and then I would just do it by hand. And you can do the first one. And it's just right there, so you're not going to really lose your bolts. And then the second one, when you go to release that, I'd put your hand underneath here to keep this from dropping out and dropping down. All right, that is all the way loose. And you know, there's just two kind of snap-in clips here. They're really not, the bolts are really what hold this thing in, but you'll feel this little tension on this part here if you don't drop it down right. Now you're gonna, you know, this is your original tailgate handle. You want to keep this nice. What we need to do is we need to remove the camera out of here. It is just 2 Phillips screws, and that's going to be transferred over to the new one. One thing I recommend doing when you go pick up your new tailgate latch from the dealer is to make sure that it's painted nice and there's no flaws on it. You can do that right there, opening at the parts counter, and because you don't want to sit there and install it if this thing's going to have a big scratch in it, which I guess it could happen. But anyways, we're going to use 2 Phillips screws. I got a nice work surface right here because I don't want to risk scratching anything. And we're going to remove this camera. And with the camera out, we are simply gonna place the camera into the new slot. From the looks of it, guys, it only goes one direction there, so I don't really think you can make your camera upside down by mounting it wrong, but I orientated this the same way. Alright, we're going to take a look at that. Everything looks good. It's in there nice. Alright, last but not least, I almost forgot this step. My bad. So we got to get out your keys and your lock cylinder. We also have in the parts bag here, besides the new connecting rods, there's one screw in there, is what we need for the... We'll put this aside for a minute. We need to get a clip. Out of the old parts bag here. We're going to put these rods aside. So out of the old parts bag here, we're going to put this screw retainer clip on here. We are going to drop, I'm going to check the key, works good. We're going to drop the lock cylinder in. And put this screw in here. Alright, now back to reassembling this. This gets snapped in here. This is the new piece that comes with it. And the old one that this should normally be attached, it has a little bit, this is a little bit higher profile here, and I'll show you why. But anyways, this gets snapped in here. And then while we're here, we're going to take the new piece. It comes with 2 of these. And as you can see, they're both the same. and then this gets put on to here. I guess we'll do it now while this is out. And also, you definitely want to make sure that these screws are all the way tight, because you cannot, and that is because you cannot reach those once it's, this bottom one especially, once it's all reassembled. All right, now we're gonna get the tailgate latch with the new rod installed back into the tail. To put this back in, you do need to hold this up so this has more clearance to fit up into, and then not much really snaps on this side, it just has these snaps on this side. So we're gonna come down here and feed this through, feed that through. This is the point where you pull the handle. And there it goes. So it won't drop and fall on the ground. I'm actually holding this. And I'm going to go ahead and put this in now too and latch that over. Now I need to reinstall the two 10mm bolts that hold the handle to the tailgate. And these just get hand tightened. I don't think there's probably a torque spec rating from the dealer. But anyways, it's all plastic, so just want to go till it stops. You don't want to over torque it or quarter turn past stop or anything like that. Just tight because it's plastic. And the reason for this new rod, as you can see, I've already installed this bracket here. I'll show you how that was done. Edit that in. That in my mistake, I had to uninstall this, and because this thing with the old rod would have actually not had the clearance to go underneath here. All right, the next thing that I want to do is I want to get this rod off here so that I can have better exposure to this. And then I want to start with taking this purple one off here. Now the purple one is being replaced with this new one. It's it looks like it's a lot beefier and heavy duty. I guess if you try to pull on the handle real hard, this is snapping off real easy, so they got a new upgrade one here. So let's turn it. Not sure what it takes to pull this one off. We're not reusing it, so it comes off real easy. Just a pair of pliers. And I'm gonna put this, snap the new one down in, turn, snap it over. Takes care of that. Now this is out of the way. Got all four of these loose. We're going to take these loose, but this is not going to move because it's kind of held in here by this. Now, you really want to be careful when you have this open that you don't drop any of your tools onto this surface here, because that would actually dent the truck. It's such thin sheet metal, and leave a mark, but just placing the bolts here is no big deal. Alright, so now this goes down over that, and we simply place them all back in. But don't tighten it all the way yet, in case there's some adjustment that you have to do. Now, after you've mounted this bracket by taking the four bolts out as I was showing you, and put this down and reattach your rod here, the only thing left is to actually connect the new jumper rod across that actually controls the locking mechanism. And once again, it's just this little piece you snap in here. And this looks Like it might be a little longer on one side, but it's easy to test fit this. Before you flip these over and lock it, you can actually take the key, put it in here, and verify that it's working, and open, locked. All right, now that I got the orientation of this cable right, I'm gonna snap these down. Ah, there's one of my, I'm gonna have to take this up, bring it over to there. I'm probably making this more complicated than it needs to be. There may be an order of events there. Yeah, that's better. And all right, now that the cables are all reattached, all the new rods, we can check lock position, unlock position. Everything's good, fully functioning, the keys work. Now, I can only speculate that the upgrade piece for this, they just decided to do that at the same time that you're in here. I think some of these were breaking even before this lock was put in. I think people who were operating the tailgate, the bottom part for the swing out tailgate, when they were pulling really hard, sometimes this was breaking. So it's an upgrade. They'll take care of it all at once. All right, it's a good time to check while you have this back exposed before you button this all back up that the tailgate's actually functioning in both directions. Even though we've checked the key and made sure the key worked and everything, definitely want it to be in the unlocked position when we go ahead and close this. The new handle with the lock. Check it a few times. Get a little hard on it. Let's just make sure we're having good function, good release here. Everything seems normal there. And our bottom latch. Yep, so we're good. So now we're just going to do the reverse order. We're going to put this on with all the screws, the 6 or so screws that hold it in, or 7, and then we'll snap this tailgate ridge cover back on. And I'll just probably edit this out of the video, and I'll probably show you guys snapping this top piece back on here in a second. All right, you guys saw me do replace all the white clips in the direction they need to go in at the very beginning of the video. So basically, these are all just going to push in. There'll be no going left or right with this for the reinstall. If you got all these tabs in the correct places, all the way pushed over, all nice and pushed over, tight where they should be. These should all orientate into all the holes. And then snap. Nice and tight. Then we got to replace our 4 screws here, which are just 4 standard Phillips screws. All right, guys, new lock. It's gonna break inside there before this becomes unlocked, unfortunately. Now with a secured cover that can't be opened from the outside and a lock, I can finally leave contents that aren't very valuable, but just secured more so in the bed of the truck, because a thief looks for nothing but an opportunity. Less of an opportunity, less of an opportunity. And don't ever leave valuables in there that you cannot live without, because that's the day someone will decide they want to take your stuff, and we don't want that. So, Honda parts accessory right from the dealer. They should have done this from the beginning. Honda, shame on you for not including that. Good on you for getting it done. You guys, this is super easy to put in. The dealer will do it. I don't know how much they charge to put it in. It's probably an hour of labor. That could cost you a few $100, but I think it could be tackled by almost anybody. Thanks for watching this video, and I am looking for more subscribers, sharing it, and just comments, and I'll try to leave some comments back. So I really appreciate everybody who spent the time watching this video, and I hope it helps you install parts like this. Thanks, and this is Jason, and I will see you all later. Now it's time to wash it. Since it's been out here, birds have been pooping all over my truck. Ugh. Probably the release for the all right, now that the